Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Albaum, and I'm excited for you guys to be here today. I do see that we have some questions that were already submitted, and so what I'll go ahead and do is I'll start answering some of those questions after I introduce myself and a little bit about why we're here today. So people may come and go, and that's great. My name is Lauren Albaum, and I am an academic advisor at the University of South Florida. I specifically serve in the Health Professions Advising Office, so that is my area of expertise. But I also, in being here for 3 years, am happy to direct all STEM students to different resources across campus. So we'll go ahead and get started with some questions, and feel free to post these as you think of them. So it looks like one of the questions we have today is, what clubs do you suggest I join as a civil engineering student? So there are actually quite a lot of clubs that you may be interested in as a civil engineering student. There is and I'm going to see if there's a way that I can send this link to everyone watching. I'm going to post this here in the group chat. But this link that I posted in the group chat option has a link to all of the College of Engineering civil and environmental engineering student works. And so some of them may be for graduate students, but those would definitely be a great place to start. And there'll be some of the multiple opportunities that you would have to get involved in as a civil engineering student at USF. A lot of student orgs are a really great way for you to meet other people who are in your field, to be able to maybe get a job opportunity through that as well. A lot of people get internships or are able to start to make connections in the field. So I would check out some of those links. If those don't happen to work, or if that website hasn't been updated, the other option is the BullSync, which is our student organization website. So students can create student orgs whenever they would like. And so I'll give this link as well. And this one has all of the student orgs on it. So there's 2 links there posted. So it looks like another question we have is, even though EGN 3443 Probability and Statistics is a 3,000 level course, will statistics fill this requirement? So this question, I'm not sure in what relation this question is being asked. So every major has their own set of requirements. So depending on the major, that would impact the answer to that question. So if a major requires statistics, then probably nothing will satisfy other than statistics. So I can't necessarily answer that question without any more context. It depends on which major that course is trying to be substituted within. So if whoever posted that question wants to try to give me a little bit more background, the answer is probably not, because most majors, if it's a required course, there is generally no substitution. But without knowing the major, I can't even attempt to assume whether that would be a requirement or not without knowing which major. Although I will mention, though, at the University of South Florida, every degree requires some number of 3,000 and 4,000 level electives. So if someone were to take EGN 3443, although it may not meet the requirement potentially for STA 2023, there is the possibility that EGN 3443 would satisfy a 3,000 and 4,000 level elective, which is generally, like I said, most programs have between 1 to 8 courses that you have to take in addition to major requirements that are at the 3,000 and 4,000 level. So I'll wait and see if we get any more questions. While we wait, I will share just a few little tidbits here with you. So and I do see that the question here was updated for the BS in Information Technology. I'm going to go and get the contact information for that. Most likely the answer is no, but give me just a second. Yeah, so since ST 2023 is a major requirement, it's a major core course for this degree program, the likelihood that you could substitute another course is very minimal. You are always able to ask that department for a substitution, but again, there's very little likelihood that they would grant that. They would most likely, since it's a major course requirement I can see here, most likely they're going to require that exact course to be taken. I will go ahead though and post in the comments, in the chat section, the link to the advisors over in engineering in case you want to find out the process for asking for a possible substitution. But again, the likelihood is extremely minimal that you would be able to substitute another course for a major requirement. So there's the engineering advisors link there. So that's, there's another question here about engineering. So are students required to take the engineering training exam in preparation for their professional exam? That question, to be honest, is a little bit above my expertise in engineering, as I'm mainly dealing more with the students who are coming in. So I don't necessarily deal with the students who have already been in the engineering program for quite a bit of time, and that would be, if you were required to do that, that would be something you would be looking at doing, obviously close to graduation with engineering degree, if not afterwards. So that again would be a really good question for the engineering advisors, because I'm not, to be completely honest, I'm not sure that they require any type of preparation exam for your professional exam. Again, is that something that would happen, obviously, towards the end of your time here at USF, not necessarily something in the beginning. So while I wait for another couple questions to come in, I'm going to go ahead and maybe just talk through a couple of slides while I wait for some more questions. So let's see if you guys can see this. So just a couple things that I would encourage for you guys to think about if you're considering the University of South Florida, why USF, doing a lot of research prior to your journey here is going to be extremely beneficial. So knowing not only what your future career goals are, but can USF meet them? So do we have the degree that you're interested in? Do we have kind of the opportunities here? I would argue that we probably do, but then again, I'm a little bit biased. So you want to know kind of what your trajectory is so that you can then identify if USF is going to be the best fit for you to do that. Do you love science and math? Is science, going to actually be a great place for you to be? What are your strengths and weaknesses once you get here? Do you need to work on any study skills prior to coming to USF? Do you need to work on any kind of maturity or emotional issues before coming to USF? Because for most transfer students, once you come here, you're kind of, halfway through, if not longer. And a lot of times, unfortunately, we'll see transfer students who maybe weren't ready for a university life, and so weren't ready for the rigor of what a tier 1 research institution would look like for them. And so just making sure that you've thought about all of these things and prepared prior to arriving on campus will be really helpful. I also just want to remind everyone, I'm not sure what majors or prospective majors we have in the room, but for STEM options, we do have quite a few chemistry degrees and quite a few biology degrees, as you can see. So we have all of those that are listed there just in chemistry and biology. You will notice biomedical sciences, which is one of our most popular degrees for our pre-health students, is under chemistry. We have a lot of math and physics degrees and geoscience degrees as well. Generally speaking, the BS, and so you see in physics there's a BA and a BS. The BS is going to be a little bit more rigorous if there's ever a BA and a BS option. And obviously we have quite a few engineering degrees. These are limited access. What that means is that you have to be admitted to that major. So every other chemistry, biology, math, physics degree, if you are accepted to USF, you are able to major in those areas, any chemistry, biology, physics, or math. There is not a second admission process. For engineering, the University of South Florida may admit you, but then you also have to be admitted by engineering. So it's a two-step process. And so you can be admitted to USF and you can not be admitted to engineering. That is a possibility. So that was just a couple things about some degrees that we have here. So I'll wait and see if maybe that's produced any questions. So we have a question, what is USF? So USF is the University of South Florida. So we're located in Tampa, Florida, and so I'm happy to answer any advising questions for prospective students. You're very welcome. Okay, so it looks like we have another question. And see if I can get rid of some of these older ones. All right, so it looks like we have a question. How early should I apply for admission for fall 2017? So if you want to start in fall, you would need to apply by the June prior. So you wouldn't need to necessarily apply until June 2017. So you're more than a year ahead. So it'd probably be a little bit too early right now because they probably wouldn't necessarily have the capacity to keep that application on file. I probably would recommend applying as soon as this application cycle is over for fall, because usually it is good to apply early, but you're probably a little bit too early. I'm not even sure, actually. Let me try and log in and see if it'll even let you. It probably won't even let you start an application for that early in advance. But I would, I'm going to try and log into the system and see if it would let me make a temporary one for that early in advance. It probably is not going to let you. And I think it said you have 32 hours. So it's not letting me into the system to do it for that early in advance. So that's probably meaning you'll probably want to wait till after fall of 2000. So once we get into fall of 2016, that's probably a good time to start, because now all the people who have started, you don't want them to assume erroneously that you're actually applying for fall 2016, since they're still accepting applications for that semester. I will go ahead now and give you their contact information and the information for where you can apply. So let me put that in the chat window. And the application system you can log back in and out of, so there's no reason why you couldn't start a profile. And just so you know, in case anyone is curious as to what is an upper level transfer, a lower level transfer, I'll put that here, types of transfer students, so you can see the difference, and that's based on how many credit hours you have. And then here are the deadlines. So you can see in those deadlines that the deadline for fall would be June 1st to apply, and then to complete your file would be June 15th now. So obviously you'd want to be apply as early as you can. I just think if you apply right now, because they're still taking applications for fall 2016, that may be slightly confusing for them potentially, but you can always contact them to be sure. That was a good question. So I think we kind of got this question as well. All right, we got another one. So it says, as a sophomore, is it better to apply for internships now or later? With 32 hours, would I be considered a freshman or a sophomore? So both great questions. Now for the internship question, it kind of a little bit depends on what it is you're trying to do. So if you're meaning an internship for your degree, because some degrees require an internship, for example, health science doesn't require it, but there's the option to do the internship. So for that degree program, you're going to have to do that internship as a health science major at USF. You couldn't do it before you got there. If you are just trying to build a strong resume for a job down the line and you want to have a lot of experience, you can most definitely start interning now. If you're saying about internships for health professions, so if you want to go to med school, dental school, vet school, any of the health professions, PA, PT, the more quality healthcare experience you have, the more competitive you will be, and anything after high school will be considered. So you can most definitely start in internships. The reality for pre-health students, though, is most of them aren't getting internships. Most are shadowing or volunteering, and that's very different than an internship. An internship, you are possibly getting paid or you're responsible for a set of activities. Shadowing, you're simply observing, and volunteering, which is maybe, I guess, the most similar to an internship, can be a wide variety of activities. But pretty much, unless it's a required internship for graduation, so unless that's part of your degree program, there's probably no reason to not start now. Not start getting experience, whether it's for a job or start building experiences to be a competitive health professions applicant. It says, with 32 hours, would I be considered a freshman or sophomore? For the purposes of USF, your classification is determined on the number of credits you have, meaning if you have over 30 credits earned, you are considered a sophomore in classification. Now, also keep in mind your classification doesn't necessarily mean graduation, right? We have lots of students, for example, who will come in with 100 credits from HCC, and so they will be classified as a senior. But if they took 100 credits that don't count towards the degree they want to pursue at USF, being a senior in credits does not mean they just get to graduate in another 20 credits, right? Everything you take also has to be degree applicable at USF. If it's not, you will get credits, but those credits then, if they're not degree applicable, are not going to put you closer to graduation, right? If you do 100 credits in psychology at HCC and then you want to be an engineering student, they're not going to say, oh, it's fine that you did 100 psych credits. You don't need to now do all of the engineering coursework. That's not going to happen. They're going to say, that's wonderful you did 100 psych credits. Now you still have to do all of the engineering courses that we want you to take to graduate with the engineering degree. So just keep in mind, yes, you may be classified as a sophomore, you may be classified as a junior, you may be classified as a senior, because that's just solely the number of credits you have completed at after high school. Or I guess you could say, and it could be, I guess, in high school if it was dual enrollment. So at a community college or university. But you will graduate when you complete the degree requirements for the degree that you pick at USF. So I think that actually answered that question. With 32 hours, would it be considered freshman or sophomore? So this just says, I am engineering. So I'm not sure in which question that was referencing, but if it was about internships, again, you're just there's not an internship necessarily required for the engineering degree to graduate. So you would just be doing internships to increase your knowledge, job knowledge, increase your network, increase your understanding of what skills and characteristics you're going to need as an engineer. So that's great to have prior to coming to USF and while at USF. Yeah, most degrees don't require an internship, in which case you would want to start those as soon as possible. Any type of experiential education. So that's anything outside of the classroom that's helping you be a better candidate, either for graduate school or for a job, right? Nowadays, just having a bachelor's degree, that alone will probably not get you much, right? Just a bachelor's degree alone with no experiences is not very useful. So if you are planning to go to a professional school after undergraduate, if you're planning to get a job after undergraduate, if you're planning to go to graduate school after undergraduate, you will probably need things other than just a degree. So you'll need maybe volunteer experience, work experience, internship experience. You may need entrance exams like the GRE, PCAT, DAT, whatever it is. So there's a lot of things beyond just, I finished a degree. So this question says, if I change degrees, would those additional hours still count against me for the excess credit hour rule, even though I started a different degree? This is a great question, and one that is at the forefront of a lot of transfer students here at USF. The answer is yes. So once you enroll at USF, they will ask you to declare a major. Whatever major you declare is how your excess credit hour counter is set. So and it is never reset. So if you come in and declare psychology and they say, okay, for psych, you only need another 40 credits to graduate, your excess credit hour will then be set at 40 plus 12, because everyone gets up to 110%. So since degrees are 120, that's where everyone gets an extra 12. So if that's the case and they say you only need 40 credits left to graduate, so you get 40 plus your 12 to get you to 110%. So then they say, okay, once you go over the 40 plus 12, so once you go over 52 credits, you'll be charged double per credit. So you say, great, I have 52 credits to play with. I'm going to do as well as I can in my courses and do this psych degree. Well then, let's say next semester you decide, I actually don't want to be psychology, I now want to be chemistry. Your excess credit hour never gets reset. So if you started here at USF and they said they only process it with your first degree declaration. So if that first declaration gave you 52 credits, if you then declare chemistry and it takes you longer than 52 credits to graduate, you are going to have to pay for those credits. They will not say, okay, well, we'll reassess. They will not reassess. They assess one time on your initial degree declaration. And that's, by the way, excess credit hour is for anyone who is coming from a Florida public institution. If someone started at a private school, they would not be subject to excess credit hour. But excess credit hour, again, is not a USF rule. It is a state of Florida rule. We have no ability to change that legislation. So unfortunately, that is the ruling. The ruling by the state of Florida legislature is that whatever degree you pick upon entrance to the state university is how your excess credit hour counter is calculated. So that was a really good question, and one we get quite often. So we do tell students, think very, very long and hard and be very, very careful before you declare your major, because once you declare, that is the that your credit hour will be set. Your excess credit hour counter will be set. We have another question. Is there a lot of tutoring available? I get a lot of help here at HCC. I'm a little nervous about the professors willing to help me at USF. Another really, really great question. I'm going to actually put some links in the chat there for you. There is a lot of tutoring available at USF, a lot. But we are a much larger campus, so there is a lot of really self-reliance when you get to a large university. You have to be able to seek out opportunities on your own. The professors, especially if you're in large lecture classes, are not going to have the capability of necessarily reaching out to every student and saying, hey, I think you should go to tutoring. So one of the things, and when I mentioned in the beginning about being ready to come to a university, doesn't mean that you have to be ready to do really hard courses, although that is helpful. But what I mean by that is, are you ready to have that self-reliant attitude? Are you ready to be able to say to yourself, hey, I know I need this, and so I need to go find where I can get help. And so the library is our main tutoring hub here at USF. We have actual tutors in the library. We have academic success coaches in the library. We have a writing center in the library. And then there are some other tutoring venues as well across campus. For example, in chemistry, the Chem Society offers tutoring. And so there's, and like a physics club will offer physics tutoring. So there's some different options. I'm going to give you the library's website, which has in the chat section here that has the tutoring. We also have, for every student at USF, something called Smart Thinking and Atomic Learning. I'm not sure if you guys have that at HCC, but it's a online portal, so it comes complimentary with your being a USF student. So this is the library tutoring. So that's the link to all of the library services. Academic, so there's Smart Thinking, and I'll see if I'm not sure it'll let you log in because you've got to have a U number generally to get into this, but maybe there's a page that'll at least tell you about it. Yep, so there's kind of, Smart Thinking is more of a writing one, but it's an online accessible portal where, so for whatever reason, maybe it's 1 in the morning, maybe you can't get into the Writing Center, the Tutoring Center, you can do this all online. So that one's Smart Thinking, and again, that's free with your USF once you become a USF student. And then Atomic Learning is the other one, and that's just like Smart Thinking where you can use that from the comfort of your own home. And this one is here. Again, it's probably not going to let you log in right now. You can get an idea. So those are the main three, and so the 2 online portals, the library, which has a comprehensive set of services, and then obviously there may be some student orgs that offer additional services as well. But like I said, you will need to and you will want to take it upon yourself to seek out and utilize those services whenever you need them. So that's a great question. All right, let's see if there's any others. We've got about 5 minutes left today. All right, well, it looks like we're coming to the end of our hour, so hopefully there were some helpful answers there. There were some great questions. So hopefully you all enjoyed, and we can do this again. Again, my name is Lauren Albaum from the University of South Florida. Have a great day.